Are we
We
live?
good? Are we going?
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday.
Happy lunch hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this weather?
Oh, see. Look at you, you got a sweater on.
It's so soft and cozy and it's like, yes, finally. This weather is my favorite.
It's okay.
Followed by spring, like fall then spring.
Summer's my favorite. Spring and fall are like equal because they're the same season, right? There's just different kinds of, yeah.
That's why I like both.
It's different pretty. In the spring, it's pretty flowers. In the fall, it's pretty leaves, but still pretty. And then winter's my leaf. So here's my thing about winter and the cold. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, then New Year's, right? All holiday. After New Year's, I'm done with snow. Like it can be done
snowing. Magically go away.
Yeah, straight to spring. You should go straight from New Year's. Like the New Year should be spring, new life, new year, new enthusiasm. That's what spring's all about. But no, we got 3 more crappy months of cold weather. At least 2.5. So
I like the cozy sweaters and all this
I know
stuff.
you do.
Like that's my favorite time of year. But you're a lake person, so
I'm an outdoor. Yeah. So this time of year is good for outdoors.
Yeah.
We got new deck furniture. Because it's like, I don't know, it's on clearance, I think, because something's coming up from fall, right? So we got some new deck furniture, so we're gonna, I don't know, do some fiery things outside. You and Todd will have to come over.
Okay.
Should we include them in our conversation, or should we
Marshmallows! Who out there enjoys the marshmallow fire season as much as I do?
I'm gonna share this. Hey, all you that are watching right now, we always take a few moments as everybody's getting on, because I know it takes people a few minutes. Some people get their break right at noon. So we give them a few minutes to get on. So, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Monopoly.
Yeah, we are.
It was interesting to hear how worked up that you got over Monopoly when you were a kid. Because I was always the one who lost the game. Like, I was not good at world domination.
That and Risk. I love those 2 games. Risk is literal world domination.
Right,
It's about world,
I never even played Risk, but who
It's-
out there played Monopoly, and were you one of the ones who won all the time, or were you one of the ones who lost all the time? Because he was a won all the time, and I was a lost all the time. Which side are you on?
We're gonna play Monopoly next time we get together.
I'll lose again! I'm just...
We haven't talked about this, right? And we didn't talk about Sunday. Which thing were you? Which piece?
Remember, I commented, I'm the shoe. Always the shoe, because the shoe walks, and it makes sense that you walk across the board.
Oh, that's right. So you can walk over people, yeah. Or kick them. No, not that.
It just made logical sense to me that I would want to be picking the shoe if I'm going to walk around town like this.
My wife just put shocker, we actually have Christmasopoly.
Oh, we had
Do we really?
Dino-opoly. We had Dino-opoly.
We have Christmasopoly?
Christmas, that's your jam. Like Christmas and
Christmas
Monopoly?
and Monopoly? I know we have a Lord of the Rings version of something. Maybe that's Risk. I can't remember. I know we have a Star Wars version of something. We have so many Monopolies. We have Monopoly. It's like a credit card machine. What is that teaching us? Right? That's real bad.
We just have this too.
Yeah. What's the second one?
Dino-opoly and regular Monopoly.
Like dinosaurs.
It's dinosaurs.
Oh, so you have dinosaur pieces. You're
We're
gonna buy T-Rex Cafe, T-Rex Avenue.
Yeah,
T-Rex,
I don't remember.
Who knows? All right.
It's been a while since we played that, but.
Well, so for those of you that are joining us, I know some of you are a part of Sunday mornings, what we do on Sunday mornings, and so this week I've been talking about the games we play, right? These board games that we play and how they've influenced us and they shaped us as kids. The big Jenga's actually right behind.
And they teach us
camera.
lessons, not always good ones.
Not always good ones.
We learned how to smash the little guy in Monopoly.
We did. It's not good. It's not good. But it's good for us to talk about it though, and own that, because it made me feel powerful, right? It gave me some kind of false sense of purpose. And actually that translated into when I was in the business world before I came to the nonprofit world and all the things. Like, it's still something that I think we all want to have our thing in life. And I think sometimes those of us who may be a little more competitive than others, it can be an obsession or a compulsion or a compulsive behavior. And so I would let that go too far sometimes. And
She said you would quit if you were losing.
One time. I only lost once.
Up in the board?
I wanted to, but I didn't get up and leave. By the way, this is only like 8 years ago. This isn't like this.
It wasn't like in your childhood.
We were playing playing with my children. I'm like, this game is dumb. Y'all won't trade with me. There was a coup. There was a coup though. They were against me. They wouldn't make good trades. Good trades. They wouldn't do it. This game's dumb.
Yeah. Stupid. I'm taking my ball and going home.
I'm going home. So then we got to this idea of life and how do we... Monopoly, I think, teaches us to hoard. So really, the premise of the sermon was we have this tendency to hoard. And we have any hoarders out there? Come on, let me hear you.
Can't throw things away.
I can't. Not just not throw things away. Do you have, like, if you have, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a water bottle. Here we go. It's right in front of me, right? Do you have like 17 of these? Like, you know what I mean? Like, our general tendency is to hoard, I think, because we're constantly reinforced to us that there's never going to be enough, right? And of course there is enough, but there's this idea that there's not going to be enough, and so we want a lot of everything. Now, let's go back a few months to the beginning of
when Corona
COVID.
first started, I felt that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I don't have enough spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. You can always make spaghetti and spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
It'll never go bad. I have to stock up. I mean, you should have seen some of the things, like my pantry. I'm not proud.
I think we all did it, didn't we?
Probably.
I mean, clean water. We did a sermon on this where you and I talked about this. This is like 5 or 6 months ago. And I hate breathing in these things, by the way. I'm like, okay. It's 5 or 6 months ago, and my wife goes out to our garage and like clears out an entire shelf that had like tools and stuff on it, and we filled it full of food. I mean, $1,000, $1,500 probably worth of food. I mean, it's a big shelf in our garage. And I think we've gotten past that initial shock of fear of that, at least. But I think that condition is with us all the time. I think we live in this space where the mindset is we need more and more and more. And I'm not talking about food. What I'm really talking about is resources and money. So when is enough, right? Our 401k is not big enough. There's this weird idea, this thing called retirement that I don't believe in, but there is some day that I would like to do, not to have to be tied to a desk all day, but there's just this weird idea that one day we can just stop doing whatever we've been doing for the rest of our life. And I think if you're passionate, you do what you love, you would never want to quit it, right? But there's the idea that we're supposed to build up all this money and wealth so that one day we can sit back and do nothing. And the problem with that mindset is, I'm not telling you not to save. You should save, you should do all the things, you should, have a plan in place. But it becomes our life goal, and all we focus on is the money and the things.
It like paralyzes you from
living right now. And then we hoard, right? Then we're not generous with everything that we do. We're not generous enough to those around us. And I said Sunday, we do have a limited amount of resources. Like, even with money. There's only so much money. Now, our government likes to print more right now, but you know what I mean? I mean, there's only so much of it. Like, there is a limited amount.
Theoretically, there's a limit, right?
Yeah, theoretically, we keep
borrowing.
Having
it, like, mean anything.
Right, but in theory, I mean, there is only so much. And so when we see times like this, where the poor get poor and the top wealthy people, and I'm not mad at Jeff Bezos or who's the Facebook guy, Zuckerberg, but their net worth during these times, is increased dramatically during COVID, right? I don't know why I cannot breathe in this thing today. And so they've been struggling, or the people who are struggling, and our systems are built in such that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, especially during the difficult economic times. If you look at our last recession, the same thing happened. So how do we get out of that mindset? How do we get into a place? Alice is looking at her notes like I'm way off topic. Probably,
no, you're not. No, go for it.
I'm probably so. How do we get to the point, or what can we do then? I don't know, to help with that, right? To not have our only focus be a paycheck and a 401k and all those things. And really, I was talking about money, but I got into this idea of justice. And so in the Bible, there's this word justice over and over and over and over again. And what does that mean? And so you dig back into our deepest roots, justice is about equality. And when I say equality, I don't just mean money. Like, I'm not just like fairness. I mean equality in everything. And so justice, the reason why we use this image of a scale, and our justice image is a woman with the blindfold with the scales, right? Mm-hmm. And it's meant to be everything. So if you are a person that has influence and power, don't collect those things. You ever worked with somebody that they were really good at their job, but they didn't want to ever share information with other people because that was job security for them, right? They were
like
hoarding.
there's the fear of being replaced if they gave away too much info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this also goes to my leadership style and how I manage people. So that in the corporate side is always a fear. If I give away the information, I won't be valuable. They don't need me. A healthy organization values everybody, and it doesn't matter. Your job is to replace yourself so that you can move on to the next thing, right? Like you did. You did. Look at her. Put her on the spot. Oh, you passed the torch on.
Oh, yeah.
For Sunday mornings, and I love and value you, and now you're doing all these incredible great things with our Facebook and online and our engagements through the roof, like all these things, right? Because if we truly value people and we don't hoard information, resources, wealth, if we truly value them, then there should always be a place for them. Instead, we treat people like a commodity, right?
Like we're afraid of them.
Yeah, or threatened, because we are.
Feel threatened.
Fear drives all this, some sort of fear.
Yeah.
And so,
I wonder if anyone out there has dealt with that, either fear in the workplace of like for your own importance or safety or security for your job, or financially, have you been in that place of fear of scarcity or there won't be enough? And some of us truly have gone through that. Others of us don't know what that's like. And, I think honestly the first time I ever saw bare grocery stores was with this COVID thing. So, I think a lot of us don't know true scarcity, like when you compare that to how people in other countries might experience it. But it gave us like this tiny little look at, wait, something might run out, actually run out. That was a strange feeling. And you do have a different level of concern when you see that, Well,
we get stuck in our mindset, right? Or in our bubble. America makes up like 4% of the world's population, yet our per capita wealth compared to the rest of the world is, even the poorest people in America are considered wealthy by world standards.
Comparatively speaking, yeah.
So we get stuck in that bubble. We don't know we don't know what true scarcity is. I think if we knew what true scarcity is, we would not be afraid.
Right now.
Oh, yeah. That's just, there's plenty to go around. And I think the point I was getting to last time that I got off topic, but Amy, has anybody saying anything that we need to know about?
Well,
are we being inclusive today? Are we including the audience, or are we just talking? Table talk is supposed to be about everybody being at the table. Like you're supposed to, you who's watching right now, you're supposed to have a seat right here. So
right here. We've got some great comments.
Oh,
today. Good. So just about the scarcity here that you're talking about, Chuck said he has seen it happen to people. But to be honest, some of those, like job security, but to be honest, some of those people were worried for good reason because their managers, he said, didn't read the same leadership books.
Oh.
It is a newer style in the last 10 or 15 years. It's not something it's just now starting to be taught in colleges over the last probably 5 or 10. So it is a new, we call it leadership instead of management. Management, not to get off too far off topic, management is spreadsheets and matrices, and systems built to read all the numbers, and then you manage through a number. Leadership is you see a person, and that person is a human being, and they have skills and strengths and weaknesses, and then you manage to that.
Like development. You're developing.
Instead of holding everybody to the same matrix.
Yeah.
So, because management honestly is a bunch of crap. If I ever go and I do some leadership training at different organizations, you always focus on the person, and the person is not a number. But in most corporate America settings, the mindset is, here's a matrix, we treat everybody the same. Anyway, that's a whole other topic for discussion.
What else you got, Amy?
Ashley said they live off one income, so the fear is always there of job security. Sean said depending on the environment, he has definitely dealt with that fear in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a lot of talk about things that they hoard. Chuck was saying that his son is a hoarder. He gets gift cards, but he refuses to spend them. Just in case.
Interesting.
Sean can't throw away boxes. He saves all
just
his
in case you have to move. You never know.
Just in case. And then he said you never know if you need the warranty or the directions out of them.
I have a whole drawer with that stuff, Chuck. Or no, That was Sean.
That was
Yeah.
Sean.
That's wise, I think, though.
Chuck said they can't say boxes because they've dealt with brown recluse spiders before, so now they don't say boxes. But Stacy, your wife, said that she has to do all her cleaning when you're gone. Because you don't like
Yes.
It's a little bit true.
When Stacy comments on here, because she calls you out in a beautiful way, not a mean way. It's just like, yay, what? Tell
As
us
if I
more.
don't have you two already calling me out
Tell
for
us
it now.
more,
Yeah.
Stacy.
It's true. I told you on Sunday. I said this. I'm not good. I can't get rid of things.
Even the holy underwear and holy socks.
Yeah, it's a problem. So it's
Those
it
can
is.
be used as those rounds.
That's right. Not your underwear.
Elizabeth, okay.
We got Amy laughing.
Y'all can't see Amy, but she's like has tears coming to her face right now. So she's.
Elizabeth said that her husband now thinks she's a shoe hoarder as a result of the sermon on Sunday, and he said she has to get rid of some of them.
All right. This is gonna sound sexist, but I'm sorry. Statistically, it's true. Women own like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Like a man will have. I actually have quite a few pairs of shoes, but I have tennis shoes, I have these, I have 2 pairs of dress shoes, a couple pairs of sandals, not a ton of stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
how many pairs of shoes you got, Allison?
I don't know. I have under the bed totes for shoes.
Yes!
Yeah. But I feel like with women, it's like your wardrobe's a little more varied. Like guys, it's like pants, it's like shirts. You have only so many colors available in that combination.
Well, and
Usually,
I'm surprised
I don't
actually.
know.
I
Women
figured
have all these dresses, and then if you have a
Everything's
certain
got-
length of dress, you have to have a different shoe, and I don't know.
Well, I thought you were gonna. Amy is today. No, she's not.
What?
It's Han Solo season, right?
Oh, the boots.
The boots, yeah. It's where it's cool
Oh,
and you
yeah,
do
you gotta
the
have
boots. And
black
they have like
and
the
brown.
yeah, you were.
Stacy called you out again. She said you still have shoes from high school.
I have Doc Martens. I have Doc Martens in my
Dude,
closet
they're
from high
coming
school.
back.
Yes, that's why I still have them.
That's why you wanted them. You knew they were coming
If
back.
they're Doc Martens, they're still in good shape.
Elizabeth
So,
said you're being a little rude about the shoes.
ooh, am I getting somebody's grill? Oh, did I hit a little census? Did I make you uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable. That's a teaser for next week.
Yeah, this Sunday and of course next week for the next 3 weeks or 4. How am I doing this?
3.
3 weeks we're gonna be talking about uncomfortable and
What makes us uncomfortable?
yeah, and so that's a good segue because I believe that our faith and that if we truly want to be better human beings and better people, that leads us to a place of uncomfortable, not to a place of comfortable. So there's this idea that church should make you feel warm and fuzzy and stuff, and that's true sometimes. But I believe the job of the church is to provide opportunity to rip the Band-Aid off, to shed light on those who are marginalized and those who are struggling, and how do we include, accept, and love them, right? I mean, that's why the big banners are on our stage. And that's really uncomfortable, because we're not good at this. So I don't mean to get too far into that. We'll talk more about it Sunday, But
not only in that context, but personal growth
Yeah.
is uncomfortable in general.
yeah, we don't grow when we're comfortable.
Right.
And I'll talk about some of the psychology behind that this weekend, but we just don't. Comfort brings apathy, or it brings, what's the better word for that?
Just settle
we get
in.
into a routine, we get into cycles, all the things. And sometimes you can find success in some of those, like routine and stuff, but then we lose the meaning behind things, right? So church is notorious for this. What do? There's rituals we do to help us remember where we come from, who we are. And we get to the point where the ritual just becomes more about the ritual instead of about why we should be doing it, right? And of course I talk about this all the time, but there are some churches, I'm not against the Lord's Prayer. There are some churches who do the Lord's Prayer every single week. That's a good thing. But when you do it all the time, you forget why you're saying those words, right? And so we do it on occasion, but I like to space it out because I want it to have meaning. I don't want it to lose its meaning. And so, anyway, I'm going to say some things that are going to make some people uncomfortable. And that's the point of the series, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and this topic makes us uncomfortable too, talking about money and our
Nobody
habits.
likes talking about money.
This is a big one.
What is it? Money, religion,
Sex and politics, I thought. Something.
Politics. Well,
Is
I
it
guess you're in
3 or
church, you can talk
4?
religion. So, I think the big 3 are sex, politics, and money. And then outside of, if you're a church, you're going to talk about religion. But if you're outside of that, you're going to talk about, religion's kind of one of those things you're going to talk about. And I think all that's ridiculous. I think we should be talking about those things. We just weren't taught to have healthy conversations around it, right?
Right.
So we struggle. What else we got?
That's it so far.
What questions do you guys have about hoarding, about money? What do you want to know? One of the points of doing this isn't just to hear us talk. I mean, it is to have discussion about it. But what do you want to know? What's important to you? What do you struggle with? What can we address? What can we talk about? Show me your flaws, all right? Show me your stuff. Show me. Let's make it uncomfortable for a moment, right?
Vulnerable.
Yeah. Who was it? Emily that said she had too many shoes? Elizabeth. I know it was an E. Elizabeth said she had. I was getting in her shoe closet. Is that what I say? I don't know.
You worked your way into her shoe closet. Well, I will ask. Like we talked about before Sunday about. The idea of whose responsibility is it to take care of the people who are struggling in our communities, and we were talking about it in the context of the church community versus the government taking care of things.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I wonder, I hate to start a government to talk, but I'm saying, what would it be like if within the context of our community, like the church community, if you truly knew that when you were down and out, there would be someone there to help out if you could be vulnerable enough to share that need, and then they were generous enough to share their abundance.
Right.
If we knew we could take care of one another, would the fear go away?
Yeah, our politics would actually be less important, actually, right?
Right, because if we took care of each other, we would be less concerned about what's happening at the level of the government with that stuff.
Well, and I'm going to talk about this the week before the election, right? In Jesus' day, they used to say stuff like, Caesar is Lord. Caesar, the Roman Empire, Caesar was Lord of the government. And they looked to Rome and to Caesar to save them.
Right.
And Jesus comes along, and Jesus is like, let them have that, let that be what it is. But that's not your Savior. Let me show you what it means to be a Savior, to have a real Savior, right? And it's not about government and taxes and all that other stuff.
He's basically saying, I'm not fighting against them for you.
Right.
I'm fighting on another
We're saying
plane.
You're missing the whole premise. That's not, you're making it about that.
Right.
And Jesus talks about this, right? You're
This
making
is
it about us. This
heart.
is about us and our heart and our community. Don't rely on that. And
so it sounds super utopian, like it could never happen. But why not? And what keeps us from sharing our need, and what keeps us from being generous to meet others' needs in the context of the church community?
Well, and you can go full statistics on this. The church still provides more water, more food, more health to the world than any government does. To the world. The church still does that. And you can, again, we used to have a video in the morning that actually gave some of those stats. The church is vitally and crucially important. Without the church, we would see there would be huge amounts, massive amounts of deaths, and even worse than it is now. But what we've done is, not just in America, but a lot of parts of the world, we've looked to forced taxation to take care of our problems, instead of saying we can contribute to the cause, we can take care of neighbor, right? And so I talked about our Hebrew roots, and we have friends in the Jewish community. The Jewish community is very, very good at this, at
taking care of each other.
Yeah, true community. They network, they do business, they take care of one another. And I think we are so individualistic that we've forgotten, and I think government pulls us into individualism because it makes it about you and me, instead of, no, this is about the collective, this is about the whole. And that we make choices and decisions for the benefit of all, right? Not just for ourselves. And so we're not good at those things. Mm-hmm. And we struggle to have real community, right?
Are there any thoughts about that, Amy?
Well, Elizabeth asked, at what point is it really hoarding?
That's hard to define.
Probably gets into your motive of why you're hoarding, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then Chuck said there's a delicate balance between being comfortable enough at home to get out and be uncomfortable serving others, being on mission with others. So
it is a fine line, and I'm not saying your family should ever go hungry. But most of our homes, we have bigger homes than we need. We have multiple cars, right? I'm not saying, I'm not pulling a Jesus saying go sell everything, give to the poor, because I also need people.
Pulling a Jesus.
Oh, sorry. That's the story I told this week. Jesus, this rich man comes to him and, hey, how do I inherit the kingdom of God? He's like, sell everything, give to the poor. And that's actually. He
was trying to make a point.
Yeah, it was hyperbole. There's an extreme thing you can do, because he knew he wouldn't do it, but he was trying to make a point that our God often is money and things. And when I say that, if you wake up in the morning and most of your decisions and checklists throughout the day revolve around making money or your job or your 401k or whatever that is, like if on your list every day there's not love neighbor, help a neighbor, do something for somebody else, volunteer at church or whatever organization, if like that's not on your list, I think that'll point out where your priorities are. And again, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable a little bit. I bet 90% of our lists revolve around money or things. And we don't create the margin or the space. And when I say create, I mean create. Make the decisions in our life so that we live in such a way that we're able to go and do those things. So what I mean is with your time, with your ability, and your money, all those things, it's not just one or the other. Often I get people like, Mike, I just want to write a check to church. And I am grateful for that. We do good things with that. But I also need your time to invest in other people, right? There are more things at play than just money. This sermon was kind of around money, but when we hoard our time and our resources and everything.
So like Amy said, it goes to your motivation. It's an attitude of generosity in your life with all the things that you have. And I think, too, what Chuck maybe is hitting at, what I can identify with, is we get very centered on our space, our family, our little circle. And it's with good intention of taking care of being connected to them, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's hard sometimes to know how to balance turning outward and taking care of inward, especially, and I think you go through seasons of life where you have to look inward and take care of what's going on at home. But in general, it's kind of hard to strike that outward perspective balance.
Well, so Jesus comes along and he redefines community, right? Community was, the clan mindset, right? Of we got to stick together, and community was really family, especially back in, you had to band together. Jesus comes along and says, listen, family's important, like blood's important, but he's like, you got to go beyond that, because when you just take care of your own family, you will just hoard for them, and then it's actually not for generous reasons, it's for selfish reasons, right? I can't be generous because I got to take care of my kid or whatever, whatever that is. Well, I don't know about that, but you know what I mean? Like, so Jesus comes along and says these weird phrases. He says weird things like, he who loves son or daughter or mother or father, or he says, he who loves family more than me, right, and more than other, are missing the point, right? Family, so what happens is a true community really just means we're expanding our table to include everyone at the table. And we should treat other and neighbor and each other like family. Instead, what do we say? Oh, my family's the most important. And now family's important, so don't get me wrong, my family's the most important. But neighbor, they come secondary, and they only come after my family has what? And then we get into Chuck's ideas. Where's the line? That, what do our kids need? I'm spending an exorbitant amount of money on college and school and sports. Are there better ways I can spend that money? Probably. So I'm talking to myself right now. But Jesus challenges our ideas of what family is and what we are to be to those. Man, this goes quick. What we are to be to those around us.
Oh, wow.
And he challenges this notion, in essence, saying that everything should be shared like we are family, because we are one big family. And so, anyway, that's probably a whole sermon right there. I'm trying to look. We have anything else, Aim? Because we're at time, aren't we?
We are at time, yes.
Goodness, this goes so fast. All right, y'all. Next week, uncomfortable. I want to hear ideas. I want this to be, it's interactive, you're posting comments, but what do you want to hear about? Like Amy, Allison, and I, we get together every week and we talk about what do people want to talk about? What do they want to hear about? What's important to our community and culture? And I got a lot of good feedback on this last series, but what are things that are important to you? So comment, tell us, what do you want to hear about? What makes you uncomfortable? That's what I really want to know about. I'll be writing this sermon on Thursday. I got a lot of notes for it, but I'll be writing it on Thursday. So what makes you uncomfortable? Leave me a note, because I know a lot of you will watch this later on in the day. Not everybody has the lunch half hour, but help us out with that. I want to talk about the things that you want to talk about.
Things that are resonating now in your life.
That's relevant to you, right? The things that are relatable. And so, right? Relationship table. Anyway.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. Show us your concerns and questions and things that are on your heart. We want to hear it. So we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us on episode whatever of Table Talk, and see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.